We're live.
We're live. All right. Hello.
Well, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Um, so we're kind of doing a little bit of a random show.
This is a random show. I thought it would be fun to ask you some questions this time around.
Okay.
Uh, I feel you ask such good questions and give such good like feedback to other people's questions. Yeah, so I thought it'd be fun too. Uh, Um, everyone is always like looking for advice, right? When they imagine as a relationship therapist, you dole out some unpaid advice on occasion. Is that fair?
Time to time. That might be a little side gig that happens. Yeah.
But some of it, I'm sure you don't mind. Like for very close friends, and other times we're just like, well, this thing. What do you?
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, but how much of those stuff do you get?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked some of your friends, kind of like in the last couple of weeks, sort of some primer questions of like, if you could talk to a relationship therapist for free, what would you ask? And I have some questions, but maybe we want it to. And if you have
I
random
love it.
questions, we'll take this where it goes.
I love it. I
All right.
can't wait. I've
Great.
always wanted to do a little like AMA episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one question that I have, maybe we'll start there, is like, what are some gaps in the sort of tool belt of relationship therapists, just like yourself,
Mhm.
or maybe areas that they're not covering as well or willing to go into with clients? And maybe it's sort of the same question for dating coach, because you're a dating coach, but you're coaching through therapy in
Mhm.
many ways, and you're sort of adjacent to this sort of booming, it feels like, at least online presence. Everyone is a dating coach and has an opinion
Mhm.
if you have a microphone, you know, go for it. But yeah, like they certainly, like, many people are not necessarily qualified and maybe giving bad advice or are giving a hyperfixated on thing. So I just
Yeah.
asked a lot of questions.
I like that. No, it gives me a
Starting
framework.
with therapists, like maybe some things that could be better covered or can.
I think you just said it. The what gets hyper fixated on attachment.
Okay.
And I love attachment. However, to couch everything as it's either someone is an anxious attachment style or an avoidant attachment style or secure, or someone's emotionally available or emotionally unavailable, doesn't give much nuance to really any conversation then. Because then it sounds like, okay, well, then I'm dealing with sort of a personality trait that will never change. Or then that means that I'm the problem and I have to overcome something to fix it. And while we can all deep dive into insights and self development work to the end of time,
Right.
which is fun. But on the flip side, I think it gets a little overdone. So the erotic equation that Jack Morin wrote in his book, The Erotic Mind, is attraction plus obstacle equals desire.
Okay.
So when I think about this, it's every rom com. Every rom com there's an attraction between the bartender and the woman with high power career. The quirky Zoe Deschanel character, who's the manic pixie dream girl, and
With the
yes, with the good bangs, with the, guy who's super hot and every girl wants and successful, right? It's like these are pairings that wouldn't be quote unquote typically happening, but that makes the obstacle. And so what we see in every movie is that there's an attraction between two people, there's an obstacle that gets in the way, and then there's the desire that really builds in that equation. So I have been kind of talking about this more with clients, and I'm like, what are you attracted to? Like, forget the attachment style for a second. Who are you attracted to, and what are some of those qualities that draw you into that attraction? What is it about that obstacle that pulls you in? Because I think a lot of people know what that feels like. You see that chemistry from seeing someone from across the bar or across the room, and it feels like it's an instant spark, and that oftentimes that instant spark of an attraction becomes what feels like chemistry mixed with chaos at a later point.
Yeah.
Um, but that chemistry and chaos can feel like, okay, but if we overcome the obstacle, then we can be together. When really, then it's that's actually all the attraction is that it's built into the what am I overcoming? So let's just kind of give like a little bit of framework. So if it's like I've always seen myself as someone who's quiet or shy or wasn't always popular, not always seen, and someone who I think is charismatic and gregarious and has all these social skills and qualities and status. If they pay attention to me, it breathes light into the side of me that makes me feel alive and chosen. So then here's maybe a person who's going, yeah, that's what I'm attracted to because it gives me that feeling. And that the obstacle I'm really overcoming is in myself. It's that I'm overcoming this idea of who I am, and this person is paying attention to that.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I think that sort of rings true. So there, it sounds like there can be healthy obstacles that are actually
Hmm.
like spur on the couple to kind of work together and overcome things.
Yeah.
And then maybe obstacle players, almost like self-inflicted landmines, where it's just like yeah, like we're being challenged, but maybe not in a healthy way. Is that fair?
I think so. I think that when someone says I keep dating the same kind of person, I keep finding myself attracted to this X type. This is part of it. 98% of it. Like, because I think that it's actually like, okay, well, what if you got that person, then what does that mean to you and about you? And what is a part of yourself that you're trying to maybe heal?
Mm.
So I think that's one way of framing it.
Is there a way that you might even subconsciously pursue, like, say, you're like, I'm very introverted. So I not even consciously, but I just always end up dating someone who's very extroverted.
Hmm.
Is there sort of a maybe a healthy component where like something in you knows that you need someone to draw, uh,
Hmm.
but then you're in it and you're just like, this sucks all the time because like every time we go somewhere, he's always talking to everyone and it takes forever to leave at the end of church and he doesn't stop talking and I just would like my little fortress of solitude. So the obstacle is like frustrated by getting the thing that I maybe want and or need. Does that make sense?
Totally, totally. Is this personal experience, Matthew?
No. Yes.
Um, no, I think we attract what we lack,
Mm.
and that can also be the exact thing that drives us crazy. So sometimes it's if I find myself to be introverted and shy and they're extroverted and I'm drawn to that because it's again, I'm trying to access a part of me through this person.
Yeah, yeah.
That
That's
it's also kind of breathing light into what is it that I feel like I'm lacking that another person is interpersonally resolving. And that's the exact thing that can drive us crazy.
yeah,
It's like what draws us to one another in the beginning is the thing that creates friction.
yeah.
And those friction points can exist in a lot of ways. It can exist as turn-ons, turn-offs, conflict, excitement. Like they can exist in a few areas. I think where a lot of people struggle is the conflict piece. Yeah.
And I imagine in different seasons it holds all of those different places, like that particular
Hmm.
thing. This can be fun and challenging in a good way sometimes, and other times I'm like, hey, this is creating a wedge and or resentment between person
For sure.
best. How much of that do you think is subconscious, right? We attract and we act, and how much of that is malleable? Like we can sort of take control. Obviously, we choose. We have agency and choose uh, in terms of picking up the phone and calling someone. Or,
Sure.
but yeah, how much of that is like we can learn to see those things and maybe shape those to our advantage versus purely driven, whatever sort of baked in.
The awareness it could be someone's blind spot,
Mm.
but I think that even once you're conscious of it, the frustration point can be, then what do I do with it? If I find myself like, it's almost like I can't help it to be attracted to this kind of person.
Here we are again.
And here we are again, right? And so I think that this is where you kind of mentioned the dating coaching thing. This is where a lot of dating coaches kind of drive me crazy, is because they'll tell you the exact person to be attracted to. Like they're like, you shouldn't be attracted to that person. You should be attracted to this kind of person. And like, there's some more context that they're giving in that. But I think that to say just don't be attracted to someone or find that person so intolerable because you know the kind of pain they're going to cause you is kind of like saying don't eat your favorite food.
Yeah.
Like you want it though.
Right.
So you might not. So I think that it's actually understanding what is it that I'm looking for and like why this attraction's there and why is that actually creating pain? Like it's getting to know like the pleasure and the pain. It's like a drug. Like you want to know what it is that it's drawing out of you, and maybe that can exist in another kind of context. Then it's not going to be that the person who's introverted goes for someone who's also equally as shy and introverted, but maybe it's that it's someone who's just a little less extroverted because they also are malleable and spend time with them on the weekends. Or, there's a little bit more flexibility in how someone handles certain situations, that there are other elements that are going to, in combination with their extroverted qualities, be able to meet someone, let's say, who's introverted where they are. And that's just the introverted extroversion example. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's it. Do you think that do you, people tend to like over course correct? Like, say you have a breakup and you're just like, you want to like tie everything up and lump everything in. And you're just like, okay, this person that I just ended this relationship with was X, Y, and Z. Therefore, I need to never date someone that's X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, I swing the opposite direction,
Mhm.
thinking, oh, that was the problem.
The funny thing is that most people will do it as like, this person was so obsessed with cycling. I will never date another cyclist.
Yeah. Yeah.
This person was so obsessed with being a finance bro. I will never date another guy in finance, right? So they do it on a quality that is more superficial in some way. And I mean, I know that what we do can kind of speak to sometimes who we are, but it's not that direct of a path. So I think that that's where people swing it the other way. Whereas if I were to challenge someone, it would kind of be like, well, what was it that drew you to that person? What were those qualities? And that maybe where did the dose make the poison for you? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I just clients with friends, whoever, seeing sometimes a little hard course correct where they're just like almost that they maybe aren't as attracted to you, thinking that like I need to like explore this whole other pasture that I didn't pay any attention to previously, and then I'm just sort of stuck in this like, is this happy? Like you don't seem happy. Get the intent, and I love that you're expanding your horizons and challenging yourself to maybe break out of maybe a pattern, right, that wasn't healthy, or some sort of toxic traits that you continue to be attracted to. So you're going for the exact opposite person, but now you don't even seem that sort of interested.
Mhm.
And so I just say I find myself in those situations. I love that for you. And do you like? Is this actually life giving for you? A
Yeah.
relationship, or is this just a weird experiment in like let's try the opposite?
Yeah. It was actually something that you had said before where we were talking about it feels like people are kind of going like more pragmatic, but like what about the excitement? And
Okay.
you even said before you're allowed to be a little giddy and excited about someone that you're seeing.
Yes.
And versus the like, but look, look at our lists. They match up on as a resume. This would be great. And like, look, they're kind and they hold the door for me and for the woman behind me. Like, that those qualities exist. And it's like, yes, and I feel like you're trying to talk yourself into it because and I think this works differently for men and for women if we're talking about like hetero relationships. Yeah, like, but that for women, it's almost like, well, I had to justify letting a good one go. Like, there has to be a justification around it. Because why? It can't just be that I'm just not interested. It's got to be that there's something. Um,
I need a justifiable reason.
mhm,
So in 6 months, I'm not over this person still. I'm saying, why did I let that person?
right.
You know, the one that got away.
The one that got away. And everyone, I think we're all the star of our own movie. It's like we all think of our version of the one that got away, and that for a lot of people, you're the one that got away for someone else too. Um, so yeah, it's also maybe like kind of framing it from both sides of that.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So another thought, talking about dating coaching a little bit more. Are there, we talked about attachment. Are there any other sort of like hyperfixations that you're seeing sort of in the dating coaching world, or even just sort of in the general, we all either have these sort of experiences on social media, no matter your relationship status, or just it filters through culture and it ends up in your doorstep. Yeah, are there any sort of trends or patterns where you're just like, can we let this rest? Can we like give this a break? And what are we missing out on? Like, what are some of the sort of like, if we're hyper fixated on red flags, what's the cost of that?
I was about to say red flags is definitely the one. Like if I see one more Instagram reel about these are the 5 red flags, I'm going to lose it. Yeah. Um, I guess so. It's interesting because a question I've been asking a lot of people recently is, "What is your own ick?"
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
what's the ick you give yourself, basically? And it could be that could also be what is your own red flag. But I think that we're so used to trying to look for flaws in other people, and you'll find them.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for, you'll absolutely find it. It's like, where's
Find
Waldo?
more than five.
Exactly. But like, what about the green flags, or what about the qualities you are looking for? Um, if you want to spot red cars on the road, you'll find those too. But if you want to spot blue ones, you can also find and count those. So I think that it's if you're putting attention on things and the intention is to protect yourself or not make another mistake, then you're going to be very fearful in dating. If your attention is going to what do I want to move towards? Who do I want to be? And how do I want to feel in dating and in a relationship? And your focus is on that, then you're going to move intentionally towards something. So are you moving away from or are you moving towards? And I think that the popular thing is to move away from because social media gives that a lot of attention versus what is it that you do want and how do you move towards it?
Almost like if we eliminate all the red flags, that'll just like we're hurting. Like we're in a pond and we're just like narrowing the net. And so no red flags, no red flags. Okay, now like whatever's left in the bottom of the net is like all that's like actually viable for a relationship.
Right. Because the other thing is that a red flag for you is going to be pink or green for somebody else.
Mhm.
Um,
Is pink like neutral or like
yeah.
like
Pink is like it could be neutral or it might be something I'm a lot willing to overlook. Um, and there are going to be those qualities that I'm going to be willing to negotiate with this or overlook it or I notice that this is there, but it's okay to be able to be in a relationship. We're going to have like there is going to be friction. Um, like someone asked me one time, uh, they were like asking if if I had any red flags for them, and I was like, I know this is a question that is common, but I was like, even in the questioning, I was like, I'll play along, sure. So I kind of said my piece of it, and I forget what it was. And I think we were talking about like maybe like kids or something. I was like, yeah, it seemed like you weren't really sure on that. And then it was like, oh yeah, the red flag for you was that you like wanted kids or whatever, or you seem pretty sure on that. But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's not like a red flag. That's just a preference. Like I wouldn't consider that a red flag on somebody. I would consider that like that's what you want in life. And that
Yeah.
like for me that's I mean, yeah, everyone's got their deal breakers, but I think to couch it all as it's like it's this characteristic or quality that you got to be aware of and watch out for and it's like, caution, like sign all over it. It's like or you just like want different things
Yeah, that's fine.
and that's
That
fine.
works.
Yeah.
Especially if any length of time has occurred.
Yeah.
But how else do you get into figuring those things out? But through time and experience and shared life together, yeah, that necessitates a certain duration. I think we all want like just like I think this is the uh, my fear, and we won't get into AI today. Stay tuned for next week.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just like we want some robotic like algorithm to just like eliminate all of the like potential like landmines and just to like spit out the perfect match. And you're just like, well, you don't know. You don't know until you get into it and actually have those hard conversations, have those hard seasons of life, travel together, meet the, respective partners, parents and
Mhm.
family, the family reunion and bar mitzvahs and, baptisms and yeah, it's some of that you don't know until you know.
You can't bypass it. Like,
Yeah, that's
um, the way that dating apps have trained us to look for partners is not the best because it's like putting everyone into a checkbox of do you check these boxes? And I think that when people say that they had a really great dating experience and we met in the wild, oftentimes it means that there's a lot of mystery and uncertainty that's there. When you're looking on a dating app, you know what their politics are, where they live, how tall they are, but when you're out in the wild, it's more like I felt something that made me want to go on a date with you. And that is information that I think speaks more volumes than do you check these boxes on an app?
yeah.
Because also anyone can say whatever they want. Yeah.
Well, right, and then
Yeah.
you still have to vet. And I think that's the weird. Maybe we can pivot into talking about dating and stuff. For this,
Yeah.
uh, but it is an interesting sort of. You still have to check the answers. Like you were given the cheat sheet. This
Mhm.
is everything about this person, but now you still have to do the labor of, well, does this actually match up to like real life?
Right.
So in some ways, like you did all this hard work of trying to make sure you vetted all these things and filtered out all of the the bad ones and okay, we filtered for all the red flags. But now like that's just the online version. I still have to test whether any of that is true.
Right. And it also doesn't mean that you're gonna like them.
Yeah, yeah. It might literally be perfect for you on paper and everyone in your life is like, you guys should be married by now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you're just like, well, we just met, and I don't know if these things are actually how this plays out in real life, right?
Right. For sure.
Yeah, so I just sort of, it's like creating an extra unnecessary step in some ways, it feels like,
Yes.
where you just have to check your answers anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna have to meet the person no matter what. And I get that the apps are for meeting people, but I think that we've m- overdone it in the way that it's not just about meeting someone, it's about how they present. And I know, and I go back and forth on this because I'm like, you really do need to put like if in any situation, right? If this is your first impression that you want to put out there of yourself, then why not put a little more work into it other than like together we could tequila, or a skill I'm really good at, getting my hoodie back. Like, you could do a little bit more than the bare minimum. And that is going to then help help the people that you want to be in your orbit to gravitate towards you. So there's some nuances there, but yeah, I think that overall, if I were to like just put overall generalization, are dating apps a net positive versus net negative? I'm gonna lean toward net negative. Although I know marriages happen off of dating apps, which are great, but mm, I don't know. People aren't having fun on them.
No one's having fun anymore.
Yeah,
I was on OkCupid in 2011,
the OG,
the OG,
the
2012,
OG.
in that sort of season. And I just found it, that was maybe a simpler time in life. Like, I was certainly younger. Uh,
And you also had to go on a desktop to log
I
into
was on a
these.
desktop,
Yeah,
and you know, you're you're filling out a questionnaire about yourself. You're answering all these questions to further, improve your matches, right? Yeah, that sort of self introspection was really fun. Just kind
hmm
of like, oh yeah, what do I think about X, Y, and Z? And then yeah, getting those different matches and reading a little bit about the profile, but trying to quickly get into meaningful conversation on the app, but then also through what was it, through the desk. Uh, sure, it's a. Uh,
for sure.
is this a okay? Keep it.
I don't know. I had to check that
Get to
out.
the bottom of this.
Yeah,
Uh,
what if like Match Group might have bought it?
Stay tuned to the show notes.
Yeah,
Uh,
sponsored by.
Sponsored by. Okay. Uh,
Pretty
okay,
cool.
Cuban, if you want to sponsor us, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Hit up the DM.
yeah.
But I just think the self expression was really fun. Getting to know people, very briefly through the dating site, and then I was like so quick to like want to like actually like hey in person and really get to know you. Um, it was fun. And uh, simpler times. I was younger and life was maybe less stressful, or the time sensitivity felt less pressureful. Yeah, what do you think are ways? I have a couple questions.
Mm,
One, if people are going to keep using the apps, what are ways that we can better utilize the dating apps to their advantage?
hmm
And maybe what are some ways that you could claim and reclaim maybe some of that in the process? Or maybe it's just we need to abandon this altogether.
I think it's knowing we need to abandon it altogether. I think that's another thing too, is if you are already jaded, already looking at matches and going, I just don't have it in me, but I'm forcing myself to do this, that's your sign to take a break.
Yeah.
Um, it's you are gonna use the apps, then treat the match as like a person, not just like an option that you can then continue to swipe and see what else is out there. So if you're gonna match with someone, and like, be discerning, right? If in the first few messages you're not feeling it, that's fine. But if in the first few messages you're kind of like, okay, that's kind of funny banter, and maybe there's like a little bit of this, like, all right, we connect on a few points here. Um, I think I would want to have a conversation with this person. Like, that's all you really are looking for, is I want to talk with this person in real life. And that's it.
You don't have to figure out if you want to marry them before you meet them.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, absolutely not. And like, and the funny thing is that with, um, again, because I've seen so many male profiles, and I know that women probably do this too, but on almost every male profile, if they're looking for a long-term relationship, they'll put long-term relationship open to short, because it already gives them the out. Like, as
The booty call, if
in,
this happens to become something
yeah.
serious.
And like, just so you know, I'm not looking for something serious with you necessarily until we get to know each other. Like, we're very like avoidant in dating culture. And that just like screams the almost like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already letting you know, that I'm looking for a long-term relationship, but that's me with you.
Well, it's a great ripcord because you're like, oh,
Yeah,
well, I
I
told
did
you that
o-
I was,
off the bat.
yeah,
Yeah, open to short.
you should have known.
You should have. It was in writing, black and white. Can't say I didn't tell you. So it's just like funny
Yikes.
because it just speaks into, I think, again, the avoidant dating culture that we're in. And when I say avoidant dating culture, what I mean is like there's always more options. You can always keep swiping. You can always keep thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. You can like there's just like it just doesn't end. So um with that can come this avoidance of like, do I even want to commit to coffee? Do I even want to commit to meeting with this person in real life? And so
Yeah.
I think it's actually going into it saying like I am looking to meet people in real life and not just forever swipe.
Yeah. I think that's a good framework of like, this is a tool
Yes.
that I'm using to increase my chances of getting in front of someone at a coffee shop to conversation
Right. Because let's say you met organically at a coffee shop
in the wild.
in the wild. Yes. Yeah.
That's what everyone desires.
Yes. People want it and people are so afraid to initiate it.
If no one's doing anything to just,
Yeah.
we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
Wingmanning.
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying you get into a coffee shop.
Yeah. Get into a coffee shop. Yeah. Basically just be like, I just want to have a conversation. Make it the metaphorical. I think make the app the metaphorical wild place, like in real life place. If I were to put, and I kind of also say this too, I'm like, if you put every dating app as a metaphorical bar, I'm like, what bar would Hinge be? What bar would Bumble be? What bar would Tinder or Field be? And it's like, could you imagine who would be at each of those bars? And it's like, I can definitely picture who's going to be each one of those for sure.
That's it. That's
Hmm.
You can kind of choose, yeah, what's more my speed
Yeah,
and maybe increase it. Yeah.
for sure.
What are some, if there was one thing you, because you know, a lot of people go on tons of first dates. What is one thing to look for, or is like a good green flag that should trigger like I should reach out instead of just
If you have a good conversation, and when I say good conversation, I mean like this went smoothly. I felt like this person had social skills. It's someone that I would m- maybe if I saw them at another social gathering, like a run club or something where we're all mutually at a church, like a third place, that I would talk to them again. I think that's a good barometer for what I give at a second date. So don't discount things too quickly. Um, and also, because I'll speak to both sides. And also, don't keep trying to make yourself feel something if you don't.
yeah. If you're just like I'm dreading this, maybe that's something to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're like, do I want to spend the time to get ready to go out with this person? Do I want to figure out a plan to make? Like, that might be your sign to cut it.
Okay,
Mm.
that's a helpful bit.
Yeah.
Uh, the other thought is like, what are some ways? Because I will see the big issue with online dating. People are getting stuck in the tumble cycle, like they're just perpetually
Hmm.
only online, only having conversations online, never sort of getting into real life. They finally do like, you know, 1 out of 10 of those gets to out of the chat and then it's a flop. And then they just like, it's almost like a safe place to kind of just like hang out. It's like a weird lobby that everyone's chilling in and no one wants to be in and no one is enjoying, but it's safe
Yeah.
because it's not requiring anything of you. But the other thing I notice is the lack of skill set to cultivate curiosity because I think curiosity is part of that sort of healthy obstacle adding to attraction that you're talking about.
Mhm.
where it's like, if I'm curious about something I don't know, or don't fully understand, I have questions about, and I'm like, "Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't, or maybe I'm really curious. Like I really am excited about this. I want to know more. So that, how do we sort of cultivate? Because I feel like maybe a muscle that we can hopefully improve. Some people are more naturally curious and or nosy, but yeah, I think curiosity in a bigger sense as a skill set. Like, how do we cultivate in the sort of early stages of, feeling out whether this is that time.
Yeah. And okay, so motivational interviewing actually
Ah,
gives us a really good framework because it's using open-ended questions. I'm gonna give this a terrible acronym. I can't remember all of it actually. So ask me basically it's, can you ask open questions? Can you affirm that you heard what the other person is saying? And can you share a piece of yourself and get a little bit more vulnerable too? So I think that it's like, how do I deepen my understanding of the person that I'm talking with? Um, and you'll know, I mean, there are some people who do this really well naturally, and you're like, wow, this person asked really good questions. I really felt like they were getting to know me. Like it felt personal. And because it will move beyond the like, oh, do you like your job? Or, oh, do you want kids? Oh, what's your, where are your parents from? Like it's gonna move beyond that into more of a like, I want to get to know like your thoughts.
yeah,
I want to get to know something that's more about you that I'm not going to get from just checking boxes somewhere. So think that that's a piece where it can be both a practice and a skill to teach. And I think that there are people who do it naturally.
sure.
So like you can kind of learn from the people who are doing it naturally to really deepen the skill set. But at the core of it is going like, can you be a little empathetic in the sense of not, I know that can be a loaded term, but in the sense that like, oh yeah, I can understand where you're coming from in that, or I can understand you. And but if I'm willing to understand you, then I can get more curious about you.
I think just even being able to regurgitate back to someone what they just said, right? I've seen
Hmm.
therapists do this, and add some context to it, and show that you're. It doesn't just show that you're tracking, but it shows you're comprehending, you're showing empathy, and so you're trying to understand, even if you don't agree with a particular life stance or statement or choice or whatever. You're just like, oh, I can see how that, yeah, would be really hard based on like your upbringing or based on whatever the situation is. Yeah, that makes total sense. That's where you last year or whatever.
Yeah.
So give a practical example. You're on a first date and you say, "Do you kids?"
Yeah.
Maybe that's fine to be curious about that. But what is
Yeah.
maybe a more curious reframe, a way to talk about this topic? Maybe you shouldn't be having this anyways on the first date, but a way to talk about this topic in a way that actually is open ended and shows curiosity and maybe gets to beyond the yes or no.
Yeah. I would say you can stack it. What do you think about and dream about for the future?
Yeah. Okay. I like-
And if someone's really kind of like, what are your thoughts on having a family? Like what are your thoughts around that? Like I think it's actually where it's a close-ended question is a yes or no. And I think that when people are hearing close-ended questions, they're hearing someone else, do you check the boxes for me? Do you have this? Do we I'm looking to fulfill this position in my life. Do you meet the criteria?
And not
Where
have to have a definitive answer right now.
exactly.
Yeah. And maybe I don't know.
Right. And maybe I don't know, or maybe it's more that I want to share the story of it
Yeah.
and not just the yes or no.
Story of it.
Yeah, because then you're not just getting because then that's another thing. Someone could say there's a wide range of this. Someone could say, "Yes, I want kids because having a family is the most important thing to me." And it could be okay, well then what makes that the most important thing to you? How do you see yourself as a partner in that? Is it that you just want to have a family because you feel like that there's this duty that you want to fulfill, or is it that you see this as more of a byproduct of having a really strong partnership? Like that there are there's some nuances that are here. Nothing's right or wrong. It's just that you're looking to share a similar philosophy around life with someone. And then that's where a future starts to build. So then if it's someone who's going like, yeah, I see that as more like a byproduct of having a really solid unit, that then that's where I would want to have kids. Yeah.
Because that challenges sort of these sort of social scripts that we just get in line and follow.
Mhm.
It's just like, well, I got to do this, then I have to do this, then this happened. It's just like, yeah, if you're actually being curious and actually putting some intention, right? A lot of people get married to have kids just because that's what you're supposed to do. And I guess that's what promises happiness? Question mark.
Yeah.
Right. Versus, oh, I am really curious about this person, and the like I like the byproduct or the overflow of that curiosity and love and affection is this result, right? It is marriage or it's kids, it's whatever. Yeah, that it not just following a script, it's like building something person and natural result. I guess this is what they're supposed to do.
Mhm. For sure. It's not a GPS turn by turn direction.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, especially in the millennial age range, I feel like we're kind of the first cohort that had so many opportunities presented to us. And we saw a generation before us where 50% of marriages ended in divorce. And everyone, and even the ones that stay together, a lot of people say, I don't be like my parents. So there's a lot of what we don't want, but then we don't have a great framework for what we do want. And when we do want, it feels like there's endless options and opportunities. It's really hard to feel grounded in what you want and feel like you can both be somewhat sure about what you want and make mistakes along the way. Like, I think that we think of it as ultimate freedom is just not choosing, or ultimate like feeling tied down and, settling down, quote unquote, is like roots. And that means that you do the thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, it could be a combination of both, but you are going to have to sacrifice one for another to some degree. Mm.
Um, I want to talk more about deal breakers and lots of other stuff, but I know you have to
I know.
get to your next thing.
I have to
So
work.
I think this will be a two-parter that we piece together in one, and we'll cut to a word from our sponsor today, or we can just call this a we can hang it up, so pick up.
I definitely want to do a part two to this. Drink Larry's coffee. You know Larry's.
Larry's is so good.
I love Larry's.
They're everywhere
They are.
in your local supermarket.
Yes,
I believe so.
I believe they are.
I've seen them at Whole Foods, please.
That's great to know because I actually have to go pick up a bag. I haven't. I could go see Thomas and pick it up at the store, but Whole Foods is maybe a mile closer. I also have Amazon returns, so let's be real. I just need.
You have
I
options.
have
I guess.
options. You do have options for Larry's, so everyone go drink Larry's, and until next time, everyone, stay caffeinated, stay connected. Boom. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun.